Welcome, Dr. James Beckett, Sports Card Insights. Thanks, Topps, Panini, Upper Deck. Thanks, Beckett.com, Beckett Media, Beckett Grading, Beckett Authentication, ComC.com, Heritage Auctions, Huggins & Scott Auctions, Mike's Stadium Sports Cards, and Burbank Sports Cards. Thanks, sponsors. This is a very abbreviated book report, and as I always try to promise, that even though it's a book report about something that's about the sport and not specifically about the hobby, I do want to have a sports card insight aspect of this. I went to the Mavs game when they had Mavs games with a friend, and he said, "Thank you for the tickets. That was great. And here's a present for you." And it was this book, The MVP Machine by Ben Lindbergh and Travis Sawchik. He's a big sports guy, not so much of a collector, but a big sports guy. He knew I was too, and just said, "This is the best book I've read in a long time." He's an excellent athlete himself. But the subtitle of this book is How Baseball's New Nonconformists Are Using Data to Build Better Players. And it's basically it's case studies. There's a lot of examples about the kind of the nature-nurture debate, that are great players born or are they made? And he's in the financial services field, and he said the interesting thing is he knows I do a lot of consulting, and he said, read the book and then tell me what you think afterwards. And what he really wanted to get at was the fact that in every industry there are opportunities for nonconformists to emerge if they can use data better than the other people. And so, me being a data guy, the star players can be made, and that could be an employee, that you can make yourself a better player, but that there may wind up being some nonconformity involved in that. And so what does that mean in terms of the sports card collecting industry? How does somebody get an edge? How do you go from being a common player or just a regular collector to being a star investor? Or how do you emerge to become somebody that really is doing great and just really wisely, whether it's investing or collecting, making good choices, and as I said, using data. And so there's three different cases here that I thought about. One I don't think applies to this book, and that is that one way to try to look at the data and try to figure out what to buy is, and a lot of people are doing this, and I think it's hard, and so it's not the one I recommend, but it's trying to figure out what products to buy. And again, doing the analysis of that, we certainly did that back in the Beckett publications days, to try to evaluate a product. So the product is coming out, can you get an edge in looking at the data from the sell sheet materials or the player selection, who's going to be in it, as to whether or not this is going to be a hot product now and or in the future. I think it's difficult. I encourage you to try that if that works for you, but that's to me, that's door number 3. And so where I am encouraging you to do is 2 other ones. So door number 2 for me is using, and this book is an excellent example of that, of players that were just borderline, were not necessarily great prospects, who by working on their game and doing some things that were unconventional, emerged to be superstars, or certainly high demand players. And so being able to evaluate using the data and checking out for prospects, and it's a baseball book, but it goes for baseball, football, basketball, hockey, being able to evaluate the future demand for a player, knowing that because what the book is saying is that past performance may not be an accurate indicator of the future performance, because there may be some intervention that the player does, some new training technique, some approach that turns that hitter from a singles and doubles hitter into a home run hitter, or a pitcher from being adding 5 miles an hour to their fastball. And so if you can figure that out, that's good. And then door number 1, really, if people ask me, well, how can I make money in this industry related to this book? And that's being a nonconformist and using the data and really rolling up your sleeves and really learning how to grade. Basically, the easiest way to make money is if you can figure out how a card will grade by BGS or PSA. Number one, you could get a job there if you're really good at grading, but you could also make a lot of money. If you knew what grade a card would get, you'd be able to go through, and I don't know that that's so much nonconformist, but if you know something is going to get a very high grade, especially a condition sensitive card, and you can pick that out, then you can pay full retail, get it graded, and make an excellent return on your investment. So to me, that's a way how you could be a nonconformist and use data to build a better collection. So that's my little weekend episode, taking the MVP Machine book and applying it to the hobby. Don't be afraid to be a nonconformist. And if you can figure out who the next stars are going to be, or figure out of 10 cards on the table which one is going to grade the best, you can have an edge in this industry and a great future, whether you're a collector, dealer, or a professional grader. So thanks, everybody. Be back tomorrow with another episode.